100 is unsafe. And in 2013, my young self watched it hit 663. Our generation is born into the climate crisis. Today, that issue extends beyond air pollution to floods, to banjir. I've had friends who lost their homes with house filling up with water, and my aunt called me in the floods of 2021 in Malaysia saying that she lost electricity and some were stranded on highways. And last November, I watched many Malaysians wade across the waters to vote. We forget that these floods displaced around 125,000 people and evacuated 400,000 people, including 6.1 billion losses in ringgit. But beyond these statistics, there are human lives that are affected with this. And growing up, I felt so helpless and so angry. But I've learned to honor my anger and put it into productive action by not being a passive victim. So when I was 15 years old, I volunteered with local conservationists to really learn about Malaysia's animals and educated kids on plastic pollution. And I had my two great insights. Firstly, a lot of Malaysians still think of climate change in Western narratives. Like we think of polar bears and like melting ice caps. But what about our own local biodiversity? Like colugos, turtle, ikan, all the kinds of like different biodiversity. And I realized that we needed to localize our climate narratives because tak kena maka tak cinta. You can't love what you don't know. Secondly, I realized the power of young people. And I learned this from a 6-year-old that I was working with at the time. He asked me, Mr. Max, why are we so focused on plastic straws and not the whole plastic cup itself? He's right. We are focused on individual actions when we should be looking at systemic actions too. And I realized that whatever young people lack in experience, we make up with passion. We just need to be empowered. And that's what I decided to do with my non-profit Youth United for Earth. We mobilize young Malaysians towards action through environmental storytelling, campaigns, and advocacy, all grassroots. And by creating a national hub for local environmentalism, Youth is trying to decolonize climate narratives and return to our traditional and local solutions, long proven by our indigenous people, the true environmental stewards. And we've launched campaigns and programs for students as well. We need institutions to listen to us, trust us, and fund us, because young people can stretch every single dollar. We can impact millions with just social media accounts and willpower. Imagine what we can do with real backing. And so, seek your local community and you will find a solidarity that sustains you. Because right now, we are at a turning point, and young people, we're stepping up as the new stewards and stepping up as the true Youths United for Earth. Thank you.
I remember when I was a kid in my hometown, we have a rice field, so we literally eat local rice every day, morning, for lunch, like Asian, normal Asian. So we eat local rice every day. But then when I moved to Delhi, we stopped eating local rice, only imported rice. So I was wondering why this happened. And then I asked my mom, are we still doing rice field? And then she said, oh no, we're no longer doing this because of water shortage. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that. And then I realized that most of the streams that we used to go out for swimming, for catching the fish, it's all gone. All the rivers has vanished. So I realized that it must be something happened. Something must have caused it. That's why I started to explore around, and I decided to continue my study in environment. And I learned that it was because of the human. It's because of our action. That's why I want to continue to do this work and to do something about my country.
Outside of PNG, nation of over 1,000 people. Yes, when I was growing up in the late 1990s, I never had access to electricity. There's no power. I used to study from the light from copper, dried coconut. We used to light that. We used to study. I grew up as a kid, watching my grandparents, my 4 grandparents, from my mom and my dad. They were translators. They committed 28 years of their lives translating the Bible. Papua New Guinea has 800 and plus 32 languages. We were one of those privileged that we had English translated text. I used to wonder because it was a volunteer role. Every day they would dress up and they did exposure, knowledge gain, networks, having the kind of networks. We ran them. We ran 100-kilometer water dam project down to the community where 1,000 people benefit. Seeing that, the people said, oh, we can do it. And this was telling the people, we can do it. See, it was really an inspiration for me. It taught me the power of community effort. It taught me that the resource is there. Coming out from your background, from your home province, from your community, you are the one who know the needs of your people. Only with the given privilege, opportunity, the networks that you build will help you to help your people to abstract that kind of resource through sustainable means because you care for your community. Nobody cared for your community. Of course, there are some individuals that go on. Seeing that need, of course, I always go back in every international conference I attend the privilege. I always go back to share the experience, the network of people. My role is more of a facilitator, networking people to my country, even in the Pacific region. Young people in the Pacific, we network them to people outside of organizations outside of the region so that they can have the same opportunity like I do. So if I can have that opportunity, why not other young people, the underprivileged that have that opportunity? I've been seeing that we all share that experience one way or the other. People, the opportunity that we can give to us through our experiences. It's the passion, the drive that keeps me going. And I'll keep going. I'll have to hand over to the new ones that are coming up in the next 2 years. Even now, so I would like to take the backstage and allow others to do it. Thank you.
In the province, in the community, will call you and ask for your help to find sanctuary because they are being hunted down by suspected state agents, and then the friend of your, the sister of one of your friends is missing, abducted one day. Things like this, we will ask on how really can activists, environment defenders, even the youth, the indigenous peoples will have a space to share their ideas, for them to participate, for them to raise their voice on what they can do for climate if we cannot give them a safe space. And yesterday, I was listening to the talk of the youth on how to make climate work, environmental work sexy. And I think nothing's more sexy if you are alive, secure, and healthy. So our work really on how to give them the space for them to feel safe to do their work, to do their contributions, and how to protect the environment and how to raise them. So I don't want to share much, so we're very much welcome into this space, so we can talk a lot, talk more about what's happening in our country, our work, and how you can definitely have a thing to help us and how to amplify this. Thank you.
We had to tape up the windows because we were really scared that the storm would just crash them all down and our house would flood. So as a 9-year-old child back then, I remember looking out the windows and the rain was pouring down and just thinking to myself, wow, this is a reality that all of us, everyone in my country experiences. But I'm one of the lucky ones because I have shelter, I have a roof over my head. I didn't have to worry whether I was gonna live or die, just that I had to get through that storm. I couldn't go out, I couldn't hang out with my friends. But the reality for many people is that they actually fear for their lives. They don't have proper shelter, they don't have a roof over their heads. Actually, many are out in the rain, in the cold, pouring rain, just trying to get from one day to the next. And so that day, I made a decision that I wanted to pursue law and I wanted to be a human rights or a development lawyer. So that's where my story began, and afterwards I started to become really active in youth organizations. Maybe some of you know, but CISV International, Children's International Summer Villages, as well as ISEC International as well. So I've been very active in both of those organizations, trying to communicate and engage more with fellow youth like myself on issues relating to the SDGs and particularly in development and capacity building. So now it's a difficult situation because we are still feeling the effects of the pandemic, I'm sure worldwide, but even in the Philippines. Recently, we had another super typhoon. I think it was one of the largest in the world. It was called, locally called Yolanda, but I think internationally it's called Typhoon Haiyan. That was a very devastating super typhoon, and when that happened, we would get news every single day. People dying, people who were lost, haven't been found, some even until now. And I decided that, you know what, I want to be part of the narrative here. So I joined an organization called Waves for Water. It's an international organization, but they have a branch in the Philippines. And this really opened my eyes to the situation, especially locally in the provinces of the Philippines, that something that I have access to every single day and is readily available for me any minute of the day. I just walk outside the door and I have it, is actually not available so readily for the communities around me. It was mentioned to me because what Waves for Water does is we supply and bring water filters to communities around the Philippines, especially the harder reach ones. And through this organization, I really learned that not many people, or not many, especially when it comes to indigenous tribes and like the harder reach areas, they don't have access to water every single day. Some people have to walk hours just to access this basic necessity. Whilst I, my whole life, just always had it in a jug beside me, or it was available anywhere. So that really opened my eyes to the reality that some people experience day by day. And I guess now moving forward, being here in APCW, that is something that I take, that I keep in mind and that I take to heart, that my reality and other people's reality is different. My reality from your reality is different, but I think we're all here for a common goal, and that we all have a shared instrument, and I'd say it's the best one actually, that we have access to, and that's our voice, to share these experiences, to share our own versions of reality, and be able to form this connection with one another in order to combat these issues moving forward. So yeah, thank you very much.